Well, coming up in the markets this week, beef producers are licking their chops over what sounds like some positive trade news out of China. One corn trader says we could see a repeat of history from this year's crop, while another broker cautions it's the wrong time of year to be bearish on soybeans. Well, it appears the United States is closer to resuming exports of beef to China following trade talks earlier this month. When it happens, it will be a big win for our nation's beef producers. In fact, the University of Missouri says China imported 86,000 metric tons of beef 5 years ago, but by last year, that number is estimated to have swelled to over 800,000 metric tons. The U.S. has been locked out of the China beef market since 2003. Well, as far as the present situation in the live cattle market here at the end of April, trader Chris Robinson is saying making some advanced sales may be a good move for you.
We've been telling guys that if you can make some advanced sales, don't be afraid to, because then you can just re-own it with a cheap call, keep your upside open. But I'd say a lot of money has been lost in the past 3 or 4 weeks where guys thought that the market was topped out.
Turning to chicken, Mississippi is implementing new measures because of the recent bird flu outbreaks in surrounding states. The Mississippi Business Journal reports that no poultry from Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, or Georgia can be shown or sold at public events in the state until further notice. The state veterinarian says any Mississippi birds at such events must be part of the National Poultry Improvement Plan program. Well, today's trivia quiz is not about livestock. It's about trees. It is springtime after all. And here is the quiz question. What is the most common native tree found in the eastern United States? Is the answer A, eastern redbud, B, Bradford pear, C, red maple, or D, flowering dogwood? We'll have the answer coming up here on Farm Week. Well, we move into the row crop commodities now in the markets. Some traders believe that corn prices have the potential to work a little bit higher in the near term. Naomi Bloom is one of those. She says there is some history that actually supports the idea for this year in particular.
I think that the market's going to have the ability to work a little higher. I think we retest last summer's highs. Statistically, we've done research at our office that shows when you come out of a record crop, the following crop year, this percentage change in price is a 70% swing on average. And we've actually put statistical math to it to show that we have 70% odds of seeing the futures price get up to the 450 level and retest last summer's highs. Now, we don't have a reason to go higher than that unless the weather comes into play. But if you take today's number for planted acreage and do the math on what the harvested acres number can be, if yield is trendline at 170, ending stocks drop down to 1.8 billion bushels. And that's a market price that keeps us in the range that we've been in, which keeps us into that point where we can retest that 450 price high area. Now, if yield comes in at 165, then you got a different scenario. You've got ending stocks that come in at 1.5 billion bushels, and then you're talking $5 corn. So weather is so important this summer. We're going to trade every weather rally that comes along the way.
Speaking of corn, stocks of ethanol made from corn hit an all-time high earlier this month. That's almost 24 million barrels of ethanol. Production of ethanol topped 1 million barrels a day for over 5 weeks due to the large supply of corn now available. Well, for soybean producers, the often asked question these days is, do I market a fair amount of my insured bushels now, or do I wait for a weather scare or some other market-moving event and do it later? Analyst Don Roos answers the question this way.
You know, when you look at it, this is the wrong time of year to be bearish on the grain market. I mean, when you really look at it, we have weather scares ahead of us here. We're oversold now, deeply oversold. And, you know, we saw what can happen with the corn today and the wheat. This thing's going to get out of position, and we're going to see rallies and breaks. So I most definitely don't like selling a market on a hard break, oversold. There's opportunities as you move through the time. If you're forced to sell stuff, I'd re-own it with some options and look for better times.
U.S. grain and oilseed exports continue to face a headwind in the form of a strong U.S. dollar. The hike in interest rates by the Federal Reserve about a month ago also impacts commodity trading as we continue to move through spring. Analyst Dan Huber explains the situation.
This is the third rate hike, really not just in the last 15 months. in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've been zero interest rates since 2000, or declining, or zero interest rates really since 2006, 2007. Hardly what you would call an aggressive rate. We already know the Fed is projected to do 2 more hikes here later this year. You know, I think the market had certainly built a lot of that in. They maybe were expecting the Fed to say, maybe have a little more aggressive forward guidance, like, yes, we could possibly push it even higher on some of the future rises. That wasn't in the language at all, and I think that was kind of a disappointment.
It now appears that the long-delayed confirmation of Sonny Perdue of Georgia as U.S. Secretary of Agriculture will take place sooner rather than later. In fact, the full U.S. Senate is now set to vote on Perdue on Monday, April 24th. It will be among the first business taken up following their 2-week Easter recess. Well, we return to the trivia quiz now to wrap things up in the markets for this week. And our answer is C, the red maple. It is the most common native tree in the eastern United States.